I've spent my career working with companies in the midst of making important pivots. From shaping culture to changing corporate strategy, I've had a front row seat and a leadership role in strategically architecting company reputations and leadership brands, helping to shape how they were perceived and received by critical stakeholders. I'm going to show you how to do that for your own career. This masterclass is for aspiring executives who want to get better results through very intentional communication. It's for leaders who want to start something new, set new goals, start new conversations, or lead a new team. I'm Jerilan Green, and this is the truth about strategic communication. By the end of this class, you'll have a better idea on how to drive results with intentional communications, and how do you find and use your leadership voice to do what you do every day even better. I've spent my career working with companies in the midst of making important pivots. From shaping culture to changing corporate strategy, I've had a front row seat and a leadership role in strategically architecting company reputations and leadership brands, helping to shape how they were perceived and received by critical stakeholders. I'm going to show you how to do that for your own career. This masterclass is for aspiring executives who want to get better results through very intentional communication. It's for leaders who want to start something new, set new goals, start new conversations, or lead a new team. I'm going to share with you what has worked for me and what's worked for other executives that I know. We're living in a time of constant and complex change, and I don't know anyone that would disagree with that statement at this point. And what we know is that people trust companies and employers more than they trust other institutions, schools, educational institutions, and even governments. And so that means that the bar for a CEO and a C-suite and leaders who are communicating has never been higher. And it means a few things. One, leaders need to bring clarity amidst a lot of change and ambiguity. And that takes communication, that takes sharing your point of view and expressing your ideas. The second thing is that employees in an organization expect leaders to use their voice inside the organization to drive change that's needed, and also outside the organization in society to drive change. And if you think about everything that happened in 2020, many employees were looking at their leaders and their companies to take action on everything that we saw unfolding around us. And that trend is really here to stay. The third aspect about strategic communications right now, particularly for leaders, is that consumers and employees and other stakeholders are increasingly looking at leaders and brands and what they believe. And they are understanding that information and making a decision about whether they will purchase your product, frequent your company, support your brand, invest. And it's really important to understand that that group of people that buy that way, that decide to put their support behind an organization that way, they're called belief buyers. And so when you think about your own leadership, what do people understand about you? Why should they buy into you? And what are you putting out there in terms of the way that you interact with people, such that they would make the decision, I'll follow that person, I'll be on their team, I'll support their agenda. So it's just something important to think about. So those are the three areas around leaders bringing clarity, leaders using their voice to drive change, and leaders understanding that consumers, employees, and other stakeholders are looking at leaders in a new way. And so what this all means is that as you progress through the organization, you need to be conscious that the expectations have risen around leadership and also how leaders come across in their communications. And the best thing to do is to build those skills now before you need them in really high-stakes situation. Start with your team, start with people that you work for, being really intentional about sharing who you are and bringing to that what you do and also what you care about with the people around you. It will just pay off when you have situations like navigating a crisis that we saw last year and other things that could come up in your organization, or if you're just trying to lead a bold direction in your organization.